What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Quarantine Kitchen Quick Fix. What is a quick fix? It means it's a recipe that doesn't require a full episode because it's not a full meal. It's a side dish, a filling, something small that's a recipe I want to share, but it doesn't actually have any conjunction with anything else that I'm making. Today's recipe, we are going to be making tofu deli meat. If you're one of my followers that doesn't enjoy soy, I'm sorry, this recipe is not for you. I don't know what to substitute. Tofu can't be substituted. Well, it can be, but I don't know what to substitute with. So, for today's recipe, you will need 1 block of extra firm tofu. You will need some seasonings, and those are going to be soy sauce, liquid smoke, or powdered smoke in my case, paprika, salt, poultry seasoning, chicken seasoning. I'm going to use lemon and herb today, and then I'm also going to top it with black pepper that I forgot to grab, but we're not to that phase yet, and then some garlic. But we can put our seasonings away for right now because the first thing we have to do is press the tofu. And that's as simple as it sounds. We're going to open and drain the tofu. Should have opened this beforehand, so no one had to see me struggle. Here we go. For my watchers that are watching out of pure curiosity, tofu is it's actually just like basically pure soy that's been processed and pressed into a block. That's what it is. It's soybean curd. Balancing act. I'm using a cheesecloth, by the way. You'll see this a lot. I used it in the oat milk video as well. Do a balancing act here. I should have used a different pot. Basically, all you're doing is trying to press the majority of the liquid out of the tofu. It ultimately doesn't matter how much you get out because we are going to be baking this. Now, I don't trust that. Let me get a different pot. Get a different pot. I see that ending very badly. For the record, I should cut that in half. I've never pressed an entire block of tofu, but that is what the recipe calls for. Usually I cut it into pieces, but we are going to actually be cutting it into a third today, and we don't need to cut it in half. We'll cut it later. So right now we're just going to let it press for a minute, actually about 10 minutes, and you're going to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. So while that's preheating, press your tofu, and I'll be right back, and we will get started. The tofu is pressed. The oven is ready. So now we're going to add everything to a blender, which seems to be the signature utensil for the quick fixes. We're going to crumble the tofu into the blender. Crumble is probably the wrong word. Okay. Make sure your hands are clean. Okay, now we can do this. And then next up, you're going to start adding in the seasonings to the blender, and we're going to blend everything together. That's how it's going to work. Yes, I'm using takeout soy sauce because I realized that I was out. And as this is Quarantine Kitchen, we use what we have available. So it's 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, 2 teaspoons liquid smoke, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, paprika, all that. Now, the thing with tofu is it will take on the flavor of whatever you're adding to it. So if you want it really powerful in flavor, you add more. If you want it less powerful, flavorful, all that. I added a little more than necessary for the lemon pepper. I want it flavorful. Teaspoon of salt. 1.5 teaspoons of paprika. Obviously, I'm adding a little more, but we know how I feel about my paprika. And then it's 2 teaspoons of the liquid smoke. I'm probably going to add a little bit of more moisture to this because my blender is horrible, as discussed in previous videos. So you're going to blend it until it's a smooth consistency. It is going to be kind of thin. It should still have some, it should relax, but still have some form to it. So now we're going to blend this, and I will come back. Okay, so that you can see the texture. This is also a good time to taste it, too. So you can see how it's runny, but it still has some, it still has some form to it. It tastes almost like smoked salmon. It's actually really good. You're going to need a baking sheet and 2 pieces of parchment paper. Yeah, I can't ever measure properly. I'm probably going to have to do 2 batches because you don't want this incredibly thick. You want it about 1/8 of an inch, and my pan is about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm probably going to have to do 2 batches. We'll see. That's about right. Maybe not. Maybe I can get it all in one. We'll see. So what we're going to do basically is dehydrate this. It's going to be dehydrated tofu that comes out with a texture similar to that of deli meat. I'm very excited about this because I love sandwiches. I'm a sandwich person. And I can't have deli meat anymore because I'm allergic to everything. I am actually think I'm going to put this all into one batch, and I'm just going to make mine thicker. I'm going to regret this decision because I made more than I thought I did. It's okay. We'll even it out, see how thick it is, and then I'll scoop some back into the blender. But the process is the same whether you're doing 1 batch or 2, and depending on the size of your cookie sheet, if it looks like mine, then obviously you'll have to do 2 batches, and I'm going to have to, which is fine. Okay. Now we're going to use the other part of the parchment paper to press it down into a flat sheet. The mixture will come off because, as you can see, mine's very goopy. The whole point is to try to get it as flat and smooth as possible before it goes in the oven. So obviously, when I pull this off, you're going to see, and you're going to be like, oh, look at that. And yeah, no, that's totally normal. Even in the recipe, it says it's going to happen. And then, it's going to be really good. This is going to go into the oven, and it's going to bake for about 25 minutes until it's firm and has a brownness on the top. We need more pepper. Sprinkle it with black pepper. And into the oven she goes, and I'll pull her out when she's done. All right, it is nice and browned. You can take a look and see for yourself. As I was baking this, when I went to go do the second batch, I remembered that I own stick-free, no, that's not the word, nonstick. I have nonstick baking stuff, and I'm going to show you why that matters here in a second as I try to remove this from the parchment paper. I bought nonstick baking ware so that I didn't have the issue I'm currently having. Now, there's lots of things that could have happened with this. It's not cute. I don't know if you can see. Let me bring it close so you can see me try to peel it off the parchment paper of this one. Okay, so here's a good life lesson. However, I mean, that's working. That's fine. I don't expect it to be pretty. I'm going to cut it into strips anyway. So let's look at the difference, shall we? Parchment paper, non-stick cookware. So you can see the difference and why there is a difference and why I picked one over the other. I'm going to fight with this off camera, I think, because I have a feeling that there's going to be some not ladylike words involved, because this didn't come out as planned. But that's okay. That's fine, honestly, because it made a lot more than I thought it was going to. I don't remember it making this much before. It's just not pretty, that's all. It still tastes delicious, it's just not pretty. So anyway, I'm going to leave that, and instead, we're going to slice this one. So I can pull this out of the pan. Dun-da-da-da! There you go. That's what it's going to look like. So, yeah, I'm literally just going to cut it into slices and keep it in a Tupperware container. And as soon as I get to the bottom of it, I'll pull it out of the pan. There you go. See? Touching it with my hands and everything. I'm doing slices because of the shape my bread comes out every time. If you want to cut it into circles so it looks more like bologna or whatever, you go right ahead and do you. It's not the most glamorous way to finish a video, but it's still good. Anyway, so that is my deli meat that I'm going to store in a Tupperware container. And tomorrow, when I have a sandwich, I'm going to have it. So there we go, guys. Difference between stick and non-stick. Parchment paper and non-stick, and you understand why I have the cookware I do. All right, guys. So anyway, that is a successful recipe of deli meat. Thank you for watching, and happy cooking.